Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters, Season 1, Episode 5 is called The Ultimate Great Moth. And this is the episode where Weevil goes from annoying little bug guy to annoying little bug guy with a really big bug. That is basically the upgrade. He does not become cooler. He does not become more threatening as a person. He just gets a moth and starts acting like he invented evolution. The episode continues right where episode 4 left off. Yugi has already wiped out most of Weevil's monsters, and Weevil is standing there with barely any life points left. At this point, a normal person would be nervous. A normal person would maybe think, I am losing, maybe I should stop smiling like a villain from a cereal box. But Weevil does not do that. Weevil keeps acting smug because he still has one final trick. Larvae Moth with Cocoon of Evolution. This is where the duel turns into full baby nonsense, and I mean that lovingly. Weevil plays Larvae Moth, equips it with Cocoon of Evolution, and then basically says, if you let me sit here doing nothing for a few turns, my little bug will become a giant super moth. That is his strategy. He puts a bug inside a shell and asks everyone to wait politely while it becomes a problem. That is already ridiculous. Imagine playing a card game and your opponent says, don't worry, my monster is bad right now, but in 5 turns it becomes huge. Why would anyone allow that? Why is there no judge? Why is Pegasus running a tournament where someone can just grow an insect in public while everyone stands around panicking? Yugi tries to attack the cocoon, but of course the cocoon is too strong. It has 2,000 defense. Then, because of the forest bonus, it becomes even more annoying. The forest is still involved because apparently this forest is Weevil's lawyer, bodyguard, and emotional support animal. Every time Yugi tries to do something normal, the forest steps in like, actually, bugs are stronger here. Shut up, forest. Then Mai shows up and she is not helping at all. She stands there watching Yugi struggle and basically acts like friendship is stupid. Joey, Taya, and Tristan are trying to cheer Yugi on, and Mai treats it like they are idiots for believing in him. In fairness, from the outside, they do look a little dumb. Yugi is fighting a giant moth cocoon, and his friend's main plan is yelling encouragement. But also, this is Yu-Gi-Oh! So yelling encouragement actually works like 40% of the time. The funniest thing about Weevil's plan is that he is basically stalling. That is it. He has built his whole duel around making Yugi wait until the bug becomes more disgusting. Weevil keeps passing turns like he is in a doctor's waiting room, and everyone treats it like genius strategy. It is not genius. It is just hiding behind a cocoon and giggling. He is the kind of kid who pauses a video game when he is losing and says, hold on, I have a plan. Yugi does eventually try to fix the problem by using Burning Land to destroy the forest field. This is one of the rare moments where the episode remembers that the forest is the actual issue. Weevil's whole advantage comes from the field, so Yugi burns the forest away. That sounds intense, but also kind of insane. The duel has reached the point where the correct move is environmental destruction. My opponent's bug is too strong, so I will commit cartoon arson. And it works, kind of. Yugi destroys the field bonus and attacks the cocoon. But Weevil still gets what he wants, because the cocoon hatches early into Great Moth. This is the most annoying kind of villain move. Yugi does the smart thing, but Weevil still gets rewarded because the rules bend around whatever looks dramatic. Yugi basically says, I stopped your plan. And Weevil says, actually, you only made my plan happen faster. That is playground logic. That is, you hit my shield, so now my shield turns into a dragon logic. Then Great Moth appears and everyone acts like the apocalypse has landed. To be fair, it is big, ugly, and gross. It also has poison scales because apparently being a giant moth was not enough. It needs body odor powers too. Great Moth starts weakening Yugi's monsters, which is another piece of Duelist Kingdom nonsense. The moth does not just attack. It releases poison powder that lowers attack points over time. At this stage, the duel is barely a card game anymore. It is pest control. Yugi fuses Gaia the Fierce Knight with Curse of Dragon to make Gaia the Dragon Champion, which should be a big heroic comeback. And for a second, it feels like one. He has a knight riding a dragon. That should beat a moth. In any sane world, knight plus dragon beats bug. But no, the moth has powder, so Gaia starts getting weaker. Again, this is why Weevil is so annoying. He does not beat you with dignity. He beats you with allergies. Yugi is pushed all the way down to 50 life points. That is one sneeze away from death. He is barely alive in duel terms. Weevil is standing there thinking he has won because his big moth is on the field and Yugi has almost nothing left. And this is where Weevil makes his biggest mistake, forgets that Yugi is the main character and has hair shaped like destiny. Yugi draws Makyu, the magical mist. This card is hilarious because it sounds like something someone made up to win an argument. My moth has poison scales. Well, I use magical mist. What does that do? It makes the air wet. And now my lightning monster is stronger. That is the actual solution. Yugi uses Makyu to dampen the moth's poison scales, stopping the weakening effect. And then he summons Summon Skull. Because Summon Skull uses electricity, the mist powers up its attack. So Yugi beats the giant moth by making it damp and electrocuting it. This is not a duel anymore. This is a bug zapper with extra steps. And honestly, that is beautiful. Weevil spends 2 whole episodes cheating, hiding behind forest bonuses, growing bugs in cocoons, using poison powder, and acting like the smartest child on the island. Then Yugi's answer is basically, what if I make your moth wet and hit it with lightning? Perfect. No notes. Summon Skull destroys Great Moth, Weevil loses, and Yugi wins the duel. Weevil, who spent the whole time being a smug little goblin, immediately becomes pathetic. That is the best part about Weevil as a character. When he is winning, he acts like an evil genius. When he loses, he turns into a wet napkin. Yugi tells him that real champions do not win through lying and cheating, which is true, even though Duelist Kingdom's rules are so insane that cheating is sometimes hard to separate from just using the island correctly. Yugi takes Weevil's star chips, which means Weevil is basically done already. The national champion gets eliminated almost immediately. That is embarrassing. Imagine showing up as a famous duelist, bragging, cheating, stealing an advantage, and then getting sent home by a wet skeleton with lightning powers. Joey also takes Weevil's dueling glove, which is important because Joey needs it to actually participate properly in the tournament. This is another funny detail because Joey is running around Duelist Kingdom like he barely got past registration. He is not even fully prepared to be there, but somehow he is still more likable than half the people who know what they are doing. The biggest shenanigans in episode 5 are easy to spot. First, Weevil's whole strategy depends on hiding behind a cocoon for multiple turns, which is both legal and stupid. Second, the forest field keeps making bugs stronger until Yugi finally burns it away. Third, destroying the cocoon somehow still lets Great Moth appear, because Weevil's trap has toddler logic. Fourth, Great Moth has poison scales that weaken monsters, which turns the duel into a bug disease simulator. Fifth, Makyu, the magical mist, solves everything by making the air wet enough for Summon Skull to become a superpowered electric skeleton. The non-duel shenanigans are there too. Mai shows up just to be mean and then gets humbled when Yugi wins. Joey, Tristan, and Taya continue being the friendship cheer squad, which sounds useless but somehow keeps mattering. Pegasus's tournament continues to feel like it was designed by a rich man who wanted children to suffer artistically. And Weevil proves that being a champion does not mean you are cool. Sometimes it just means you are very good at bugs and very bad at not being a little rat. Episode 5 is ridiculous, but it is ridiculous in the exact way early Yu-Gi-Oh! Should be. The rules are half strategy and half imagination. The cards do whatever makes the moment cooler. The villain is annoying enough that you want him crushed. The comeback is dumb, but it feels good. And the final lesson is simple. Never trust a bug kid in a forest. Never let a cocoon sit there for 5 turns. And if all else fails, make the bug wet and summon the lightning skeleton.